Mary rocks up at some point.
I haven't seen any message from her saying she's not about.
No, that's
so...
Kirby's fault. He didn't coordinate the roundup. See, wait for it. Oh, he didn't take the bait. Oh wow!
Who didn't?
Hang on, Kirby, you get one of these for not taking the bait. That's got to be the first time in 15 years.
I'm used to you.
APP services, Blavazi and book1.co.uk present the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast, episode 606. I'm Adam, and I can't be asked with them in quotes again these days. It's Mary. Lang is not here at the moment, so who's next? That's the first time we've ever done this, so who's going to pipe up next? Nobody! Right, that's good then, it's just me. That's Debbie Melrose.
You.
Say it again, Debbie.
Fire, oxygen, basic physics, isn't it?
And Kirby Bartlett Sloane.
Well, I dare say the British Army is more than a match for a bunch of upright crocodiles.
I like that line.
Yes, it's Empress of Mars. I think that's the title of the particular story we're looking at today.
By Mark.
And we're also waiting for Empress of the podcast, i.e. Mary, but whether she appears or not, that could be a little cliffhanger.
I can tell you, if she doesn't show up, I can tell you what what she said about it last time around.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, Kirby. Yeah, okay, well, there's a big if. Anyway, let's get going. Lillian Robbins says, congratulations. There you go.
Yay!
I can't remember the first bit of it. It didn't sink in. I remember being in a sort of like a space control centre.
Yeah, there's a new camera headed to Mars to look under the polar caps, and that's where they see God Save the Queen in huge stone.
Okay, right. That ties into the
end
end bit.
Nardal's just in the corner having his cup of tea while it's...
Yeah. So the Doctor, Nardal, and Bill decide to go off to Mars to have a closer inspection.
That whole NASA segment was a little strange because the Doctor he didn't seem to be. He was having so much fun being there, but it just wasn't doctory.
Oh no, but the grin was when he realised. And then they go back in time to 1881 on Mars.
I got you. And what? Oh, Mary's there, and Mary Lang.
Sorry. Empress of the podcast.
Yes.
Woo. I was out taking down Christmas lights and lost track of time.
I think so. In February, for goodness sake.
Well, this is the first warmish day we've had since Christmas.
You have to get outside.
Yeah.
So do you have a quote then, Mary?
Do I have a what?
A quote.
A quote.
Oh, yes. Me, I love a countdown.
Anyway, back to the episode. When they, like you say, they went back in time, and then Nardal goes back into the TARDIS, which dematerialises, and leaving Doctor and Bill behind. And they meet
Which
these
conveniently are meant to forget about until the very end.
Master,
Yeah.
that was strange. They didn't exactly explain why that happened. I mean, my own headcanon is that it was the Hads. Again, but they didn't say it was the Hads, and there didn't really seem to be any reason for it other than
it was just the TARDIS being the TARDIS, I think.
The TARDIS has done stuff like this in the past. Don't think it always needs to be explained, but...
Well,
yes.
if you'll recall, the TARDIS left the submarine because of the Hads.
Okay, well, don't have to say it every single time, do they? Just let the viewer make their own conclusions on it. However, it does dematerialise.
Decided that it's time to get Missy involved in the final game plan.
Oh, true.
I just thought of something. Well, Mary's here, aren't you, Mary? Mary, this is Debbie. Debbie Mary. I don't know if you've met each other.
Hello, Debbie.
Oh, good afternoon.
It's been a while. Pretty sure the last time you met each other, Biden was president of the United States. Was that potentially? No? Okay, I'll move on.
You said no politics.
Oh, it's not politics, it's history.
Yes, it was.
I said it's history. Who's in charge here?
Keir Starmer.
No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Keir Starmer podcast. Yeah. Anyway, right. Where do we get up to? Yeah, so they're on the... Yeah, so they bump into these...
down the hole. You conveniently dropped over the bill falling down the hole bit.
Oh, no, because you put me off.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
And Master. For some reason, they changed these new spacesuits. But then the next time they need spacesuits, they're going to be back in the standard
Bill
one.
broke hers, so Bill broke her one.
I bet she did. Anyway,
and I don't think these are the same spacesuits as in the episode where the Doctor went blind.
I like these spacesuits. They're very.
Yeah, I like these very much.
Yeah, but they light the faces up. What's the point?
Just making conversation.
Yeah. Terry Marr says, "Was this the Hads again?"
That's what we were discussing.
That's probably why he said it.
Yeah, so back to the story, hopefully. Where do we go? Oh, yeah, so they bump into these steampunk soldiers in their sort of Victorian costumes and stuff. It turns out they stumbled across a spaceship, I believe, a steampunk spaceship, or was it a ice warrior spaceship? Anyway, they jumped in this spaceship and got taken to Mars, and I've been there for a bit. And
spaceship.
What?
You said spunky spaceship. That's funny now.
Steve Punk now. Steampunk spaceship. You try say steampunk spaceship fast.
Steampunk spaceship.
Careful. Careful.
Welcome to the 20 Megabyte Tongue Twister podcast.
Right. So
they haven't been there very long, but my goodness, they have quite a setup for not having been there very long.
Exactly, but initially they bump into an ice warrior. Scary.
Making camp so we can have a cup of tea.
No, but I like the scene when the ice warrior first appears, because there's a soldier and there's an ice warrior. No, there isn't. And there's the ice warrior. And somebody comes up with a gun. There's a soldier comes up with a gun, and the Doctor assumes he's going to shoot the ice warrior, but shoots his feet, and says because obviously the ice warrior is Friday, their good friend, with his broken spectacles.
Good Friday.
Yes, and Friday's helped them make this sort of machine.
The Gargantua.
Grace's amazing machine. Grace, that's a program on CBBC.
What exactly are they firing at?
At the wall.
Right. Okay. Just the wall.
Okay,
fair enough.
Yeah, they're trying to get through.
I didn't get that bit. I must have been. I was cooking at the time.
They're trying to get through.
They're being promised all these treasures and all this wonderful stuff, and that's what they built a gargantuan to blast through the rocks to get to.
It's a bit of a con set up by Friday, but he had a heart as well. Anyway, so after some
Master, the actor who plays Ketchlove, Ferdinand Kingsley, and this is set during the Victorian era. He played a character in Victoria with.
No, he did.
Well.
Okay, well, thank you for that. He obviously looks very Victorian, to be fair. Anyway, so there's a bit of a sort of battle for leadership going on between one chap and the other, because he keeps saying, "I'm in charge here," a bit like me, really. I'm in charge here, and nobody takes any notice of him. So they eventually sort of blast a hole through the wall of the. I'm going to call it a cave. Yes, Kirby.
The actor Anthony Caff, who played Godsacre, was in The Visitation.
He was.
He was.
Okay, thank you for that. But when they initially blast through the wall of the cave, it looks like they've broken through the sunlight, because a beam of light shines through.
It's like, what is this?
Yes. They go through, and there's a sarcophagus of a golden sort of lady ice warrior.
I have to say, if I could cosplay anything from this season of a series of Doctor Who, it would be her. She looked magnificent.
Yes, she does. Yes.
So so she's got some jewels around her sarcophagus, and one of the soldiers manipulates the situation so as he can nick, some of the jewels, But what actually happens is that she wakes up and turns him into a little ball, which is quite.
I did like that. That was very reminiscent of Hook when the guy goes down the gangplank and runs everybody over. That's just brilliant.
I liked that effect of the tournament.
That was a really cool effect.
Yeah, I quite like that. I didn't like the fact that these poor people were obviously getting done in, but it was a very good and cool way to get done in, to be fair.
Yeah.
So there's the soldier, the black guy, who I felt really sorry for because he was managing to dodge getting. He was being very sort of. He managed to dodge getting killed by being fairly submissive, but also trying to help at the same time, and he still gets done in it. I was quite sad. That's the one that it touched me here because I felt, I'd like him to survive.
We were made to feel sorry for him because he was going to get married at that little church.
Oh yeah, he was, wasn't he? Oh, bless him. I don't know. Was it really a point of killing him? I don't know. By the way, they did. And
you're meant to feel empathy.
During all this, she's not very happy. This woman. She sort of starts zapping the odd people here and there.
Yeah.
And
Master. With the black soldier. Last time we discussed this, we were trying to find out if there really had been black soldiers in the Victorian.
I would guess they probably were, because black people live 250 years.
Since that time,
yes.
There were.
Yes, of
but
course
since
there were.
that time, Gatiss came out and said that Gatiss was learned about a Sudanese child named Mustafa who was adopted by the soldiers of the Durham Light Infantry in 1885.
Yeah.
And so they made him a soldier. In the army, and
sorry, Debbie.
He's based on a real person.
I like historical accuracy when we're doing fantasy this high, I must admit.
The fact that African people have been living in Britain for more than that, about 1,000 years. So
I can't understand all of you because you're all talking over each other.
Well, mine takes priority because I've got the main microphone. But anyway, I've got no
accuracy. Yeah.
Like I say, I've got no problem with them featuring black people in these sort of things and those sort of those type of characters in historicals because, like I say, black people have been living in Britain probably since the Norman Conquest.
They were on the Mary Rose.
Black people have been living in the UK for a very, very, very long time, even before slavery. They were living in the UK, so it's just fact. Right. Where did we get up to? Oh yeah, so that was jumping ahead a bit when he gets done in. She's sort of a bit of a pantomime villain. This sort of Empress, very, very great costume. The portrayal reminded me of the Arachnus.
Yes.
The way she was speaking and everything. I thought that was a bit. It was good. I think she could have brushed her teeth, but
you just needed her to go.
Yes. But she did look great. And eventually, after all, the soldiers sort of start panicking, I think, because obviously she wakes up a few ice warriors to sort of create a little army, and they start panicking and think they're going to use this.
They were very, very Cyberman-like coming out of their little cells.
Yeah, it took me back to the Cybermen. Yes,
that's true, but that's fair enough. And they used what's that gun called? The Megatron, or something?
Gargantua.
What?
Gargantua.
That's it. Yeah. They think they're going to use that to.
Oh. Master.
Yes.
When all the ice warriors are waking up, the Araxa, the queen, makes a Gatiss decide to have a little fun and reference his previous rather failed story, and she calls out, "Sleep no more, my warriors!" Remember, it was "Sleep no more."
Okay. Well, while all this is going off, Nardole has sort of got himself into a bit of a pickle because the TARDIS refuses to leave the office because he's not very good at flying it at this point, and he goes and thinks, the woman that he's been telling the Doctor he must stay behind and look after, i.e. Missy, is the only way of actually getting back to the Doctor. So he
has to show him,
Missy,
the thing is, all season he's been going, Doctor, don't.
Yeah.
paying attention to Missy.
Don't leave the vault. Don't go in there. Stop having a cup of tea with her. You know.
But I suppose they've been having cups of tea with her and playing cards and that. Oh, it's only her and the doctor, isn't it? Anyway, he goes back and asks Missy for a little favour. Anyway, back on Mars, we find that the bloke who says I'm in charge is actually a bit of a crook. He's a deserter.
Not a crook.
He's a deserter. And they try to hang him and they failed. So he's got these marks on his neck. But he's actually the other bloke sort of does take over and Mr. Nearly Hung, that sounds a bit rude, doesn't he? Nearly executed, goes off in a sort of a bit of a sulk, doesn't he? But he comes back a bit later to save the day, and he sort of
he doesn't go off for a sulk. They all get put in the brig.
I'm saying he goes off for a bit of a sulk.
You can't get out through the wood, Adam.
All right. Yes, because I remember the doctor does say so. They still haven't got the sonic screwdriver. Still doesn't do wood. There was a reference to that.
Did Mark Gatiss say that was a dig because it's been so long since they've been using that as a trope?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Anyway, so eventually the chap comes back and saves the day by more or less sacrificing himself. He offers to sacrifice himself, and that sort of appeases.
He redeems his honour.
Yeah, that appeases the Empress, and they strike up a deal. Yes, my dear.
When the doctor when they were all in the brig like that in a cave, I had flashbacks to Caves of Androzani.
I didn't. Yeah. So he strikes up a deal to sort of save everyone, or let her kill him in return for everybody being saved. But she sort of says, what was her answer?
You get honour by dying
in battle. That's it. Yes.
Yeah. Very Viking.
So they go upon that. They get through to the surface, and the doctor makes some sort of remark that when they do find, that underneath the ice, the polar caps, there'll be a message saying "God save the Queen," which we see that they've made by some sort of.
Well, you kind of knew from the beginning that would be them doing.
I'd forgotten about it to be fair by then, but that was essentially the end.
You didn't even mention Alpha Centauri.
Oh, I forgot Alpha Centauri. Well, you've mentioned her. Go on then, or them. It's a them, isn't it? Because the not gendered, is it? The Alpha Centauri, if I remember from the 1970s.
No, not at all.
So, yeah.
Alpha Centauri will send a fleet.
Gosh, like she's in the room, Debbie.
that was my heart just.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely. I think the actress who played the voice has since died, didn't she? If I remember right.
Yes, she did. Yeah. I think last year.
Yeah, so it's a nice little nod. I've forgotten that happened in the episode, so it was almost like watching it new again. So that was quite cool.
Yeah, Master. When this was first broadcast, it was during a Conquistadorus, and I was sitting in the hallway at the Earth Station Who table, and I had managed to watch the episode live. Which happens very rarely, but I was watching it live, and Alpha Centauri came on the screen, and I'm watching on my phone. You got to realize, and I let out this little whoop, and people were wondering what's going on. I said, "I'll tell you, but only if you don't mind spoilers."
Yeah, spoilers.
and I told them, and then later on, they showed the episode at the convention, because this is back when we weren't seeing the episodes at the same time of day. You guys were getting it first.
Ah, excellent. Well, there you go. That's the Empress of Mars. Now, I remember the sort of basics, or basically where it was set, but I don't remember any of the real story itself. And I also quite like the steampunk aspect of it. I thought that was really, really well done, and very sort of based on the Eighth Doctor steampunk thing. So I thought it was a lovely sort of mix going on. I thought the story was okay and quite good fun. There was one element that I think I probably would have kicked off about in the past, is when the TARDIS left and they were all talking in English, and then I realised that the Ice Warrior would have learnt English, but then the Empress maybe wouldn't have learnt English. I don't know. But anyway, there was no TARDIS
I
to
hadn't
translate.
thought of that, and I don't care. It's a science fiction fantasy.
Oh, you don't care this time because you like the story, obviously, Kirby. Anyway, so yeah, I quite enjoyed this one, to be fair. It's quite a sort of standalone Doctor Who-ish, and we haven't had that for a while because we've been tied up in story arcs and 3-parters and stuff like that. So, I really quite enjoyed this one. What did you think about it then, Debbie?
I've always had a soft spot for Mark Gatiss stories because I love spooky stuff, and this is obviously not spooky, but I love this episode because it's just quintessentially a Doctor Who episode. You're in underground. You've got the Ice Warriors, always good, and just thought it rollicked along, just like it was good. Just kept going, the pace kept going, and I really like this one. I mean, I liked it the first time round, but yeah, watching it again a couple of weeks ago and then again today, I'm like, actually, I'm getting quite a soft spot for this one now. Because I've always loved the Ice Warriors. I think there's such a cool design and idea, and with the symbiotic suit and things like that. I love that because you get that anyway with Daleks, Cybermen and things, but they're like constrained by their armour, whereas these guys are their armour. So yeah, I just feel that slight difference, and I thought she was gorgeous, the Empress. I really did. And I love when the Ice Warrior was coming, you hear the ticking, the in there when they're breathing, and I just absolutely thought I was scared of them when I was a kid, and it still gave me that and little menace, and I just thought it was a cracking episode. I wish that they hadn't all separated off, because I think Nardal would have been interesting, but I think it would have been one too many people because it was such an ensemble cast. So I see exactly what they did. And having Missy back at the end, and it's like the way she looks at him, she knows this is it. This is the final journey, if you see what I mean, and setting you up for the rest of the season. So yeah, I like this one. Still like this one. Like this one even better.
Series.
Schedule.
Right, go on then, Kirby.
I for some reason I had forgotten most of this particular series, and I've been enjoying almost everything that the entire series, except for the monks, obviously. And this I really, when this one started up, I realized how good it was. I mean, no, it's not best Gatiss, not at all. It's middle of the road.
But yeah.
It's middle of the road, but it's got good references for those of us who love the classic stuff, Ice Warriors, etc. I love the Victorian soldiers thing. I didn't really have many problems at all. I hadn't even thought about the fact that without the TARDIS, how are they speaking? Although that may explain why Friday wasn't talking in the Ice Warrior way. Yeah, he wasn't hissing. What's the matter with it? There was a couple of hisses every once in a while, but he wasn't talking the way an Ice Warrior should. And it was fun. I love the weapon that cubifies them and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very tidy way of creating a corpse, isn't it? Just tie it and
yes.
A bit like a putting your car in the sort of squasher at the scrapyard.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Sorry, Kirby. You're done, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's good then. Okay, right. So the next bit is. Mary?
Okay, we just come off of a very complex 3-part dark series story that I think, did better this time around than before for us. And then we have this episode that is like super silly, super, I don't know, juvenile. It makes me wonder if they know who their audience is. Because this story was full. I mean, you nailed it earlier when you talked about it. It was almost like a panto. I mean, you had the bad guys and you have, the sweet little guys, who wants to go home to his, would-be wife. Everything about this was so simplistic. The goofy, almost, Keystone Cop kind of soldiers. And I'm tired of seeing that kind of portrayal of the Victorian soldiers. Because the fact that they're, stiff and unbending and they have their traditions and that always defeats them. And they're made to look silly because of it. I don't know. I think that undercuts, the seriousness of what they really accomplished, because they were a world-conquering army. And the ice warrior, the Empress herself, was, I don't know. I mean, she was magnificent to look at and to hear and all that. But she just was, I don't know how to put it. I found her more laughable than serious. Because she was like so over the top threatening, compared, these silly, Victorian cops. The whole thing and then Nardole, having to depend on, Missy to get him back. I mean, we saw that one coming a mile away. And even though Missy is being very, sweet and nice and all that, I mean, we'll see where that goes. I don't know. The whole thing, I could predict everything long before it happened and wondered, this is an episode for like 8 or 9-year-olds. They would have been entertained by this and maybe a little scared by it. But after we saw this complex trilogy that we just came off of, I felt like this was such a super letdown. This was comic book panto kind of stuff. And so, no, I did not appreciate it at all.
Well, thank you, Mary.
Master, may I make an observation?
No.
How we're always talking about how our opinions can change between these.
I loved it the last time, right?
You loved it the last time, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, but this time through, no, the magic was not there for me this time through. Yeah,
magic would have been there for the last time we watched it as well. Oh, bless him. Stop flapping your ears.
Sorry.
Oh, are we done on that one?
Yeah.
It's funny to hear those reflections on how we felt before.
All right then, Kirby.
Well, yeah, because sorry, Adam, I'm just adding to that. Yeah, because I wasn't too into this the first time round. I mean, I liked it, but I wasn't too into it. Yeah, but this time I've watched it so many times lately. It's just like it's become a household friend.
Oh, good.
and I was about the same.
Yeah.
With it this time around as last time. It might be I liked it a little less this time around because I don't know why, but I still liked it.
Moved on as Whovians.
Yeah, I still liked it. Okay. I only see 3 bits of feedback, one of which is Ian, so I can't
have
read
you not
that
sent
one.
it twice?
Huh?
Did you post that twice? Because we nearly recorded last week, didn't we?
But I did, but nobody responded on the previous one.
Okay.
So Andy said, huh?
I was clearing my throat.
Okay, Andy said already done. And Roy,
I've got some audio from Roy.
Roy says he's sent you audio, but he also
I
says,
do have audio.
Just cause Kirby asked so nicely, in addition to the audio I emailed Adam, love the camera eye this episode of Alpha Centauri. Same actress voiced it as from the Pertwee era, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes. I know it's been discussed by the pod team previously, but the illuminated faceplates on spacesuits annoys me. It's a Hollywood thing, isn't it, to see the actor's face? But practically looking at a sheet of glass or perspex that's illuminated from your side with darkness on the other would turn that helmet into a mirror, and all you'd see is your own face. And a thought that's just occurred. Would the human contingent have been rescued at the same time as the Ice Warriors? Not specifically discussed in the show, but a reasonable assumption or would they have been returned to Victorian Earth? Just some extra thoughts. Well, okay, that's his thing. No, it is explained. The soldiers go with the Ice Warriors and Alpha Centauri.
Is that
Hello.
it? Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll move on to the next part of the feedback process with this.
Well, good afternoon, 20 Megas. Andy Mary here.
Hello, Andy.
Sunday afternoon.
Is it?
I just turned the record level, which is down 27%, so suddenly I've got to go a bit louder. There you go, Adam, I do think of you. Yesterday, ironing, etc., as you do, watched Empress of Mars, and yet quite enjoyed it. I mean, it's almost steampunk, not quite, because it's more of a historical anomaly. I think the lovely bit about the God Save the Queen, it's only part of finding Kilrea was here. We don't actually know what that relates to, because I actually do. I won't tell it now because it would take far too long. Any Kirby probably knows. But so we go up there and we find the Victorians actually made it to Mars. Not quite clear how they managed it. One of them found a spaceship with an ice warrior on it and was actually quite open-minded. But I suppose Victorians, they were great explorers. They certainly found things that had never seen before, so they had to be open-minded. From that point of view, that worked. But how they suddenly got a whole troop of soldiers up there, including I think soldier of colour, is that the correct phrase? I'm not sure how many there were. I do know there were some in those days, so perhaps it's just me and my usual ignorant self and not knowing how many. But it was slightly unusual. But it's interesting the way the relationship. You had the sergeant major, who was really one of those who knew to tread the line between being a non-commissioned officer and an officer and could see both sides of it. You had the idiot captain. You had the colonel who turned out to be a deserter and, came good at the end. You had a bit of cliched, I suppose, as well. You had the typical army mentality of shoot first, ask questions afterwards, and didn't really realise that they wouldn't be that effective. A bunch of upright crocodiles. Lovely phrase, that. I don't think we've had that one before, so that's quite a good one. Good, bit of script writing in that as well. I thought Bill was very good, the way there was certainly a bit of girl power going on with the Queen. You can almost imagine Sarah Jane Smith punching here going, yes! Leela, of course, went straight in there, where wouldn't she? But I think it was interesting a way, the fact that, so we make it work. I don't. I think it just reflects a modern attitude against a set of values that were right at the time, and that's what people believe. So, I think it does work well. It's a slight comic relief, but also from a historical point of view, I think it does set a good example of how things have changed and how things should have changed. So there you go with that. I thought the soldier trying to get the guilt and then it being identified. Oh dear me! And the whole point about the fact that, again, we've seen this several times before. Your race is dead. It's a bit like we have the Silurians, a bit like the Sidemen. Your race is dead, but the Queen accepted it and realised she's got to move on with, presumably there's a few of them left in that hive. We don't never know how many, do we? It's a bit like Power of the Daleks, you see about 6 of them really, but there's supposed to be millions of them. How many there were, we will never know. But it's a lovely touch with Elaine Churchman popping up and becoming South Centauri again. She only died, I think, last year, wasn't she? And of course I know her from The Archers, being a big Archers fan. So I thought that was good. I think when you get self-referential continuity, it's something that fans like us will know and enjoy and understand. And someone who never doesn't understand it will say, oh, that's just an alien there. It doesn't add anything to the non-fan. It doesn't detract anything either. And I think those touches are good. A bit of a throwback, a bit of fun for the fans to enjoy. What was unclear was really how the soldiers would get back to Earth. You realise that the colonel is going to go off with the Ice Warriors and, do some good with his life. You realise, his life is now finished. He's escaped death twice and managed it. And I think it just showed that, he came good at the end, didn't he? I think the captain was a bit of a stereotypical idiot, basically. I don't know how he thought he was going to get back to Earth and all by himself. But, I think he's going to pilot a spaceship by himself. Well, that's what he seemed to think so. But all in all, I think a thoroughly enjoyable story. Few plot holes in it, but I think it did work well with the relationship of the Ice Warriors. It did keep in with the way they acted and the way they behaved. The Doctor, I think the Doctor, it's sad to think he's about to leave because he really was coming into his own here. I think he was such a strong performing character there that I thoroughly enjoyed it. And Nardole, and all the way they bounced off him, the way he worked with him. And of course you've got Missy there as well, and we all know what happens in Missy the end. But it's interesting dynamic. It's a shame they didn't go on for at least one more year, but hey, that's life. And who noticed the reference to the relatively recent Doctor Who story in there? I wonder how many people picked that up then. But until next time, be seeing you.
Hey?
Bye, Andy.
What relatively recent Doctor Who story?
Wasn't sure.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe you can tell us next time. Mary, you have some blurb.
I do, from the Mileses.
Hey.
And it says, NASA has a probe that can see through the ice. Yes, they have. It's called ground-penetrating radar. And they find a message written under the ice. God save the Queen. Well, that's very odd, as no one had landed on the planet. Written by Mark Gatiss, that explains the Victorian-era soldiers. The Doctor, Nardole, and Bill arrive on Mars in the year 1881 to check out what's going on. They are arrested by an ice warrior and an English Army Redcoat officer. Nardole goes back to the TARDIS for ropes, etc., only for the HADS to take him back to Earth. What is the HADS?
Hads, yeah.
Dad.
Yeah, I know you're calling it the HADS, but what does it mean?
Hazard. So it was a third Doctor thing, and also the 11th Doctor. It happened in that episode with the Ice Warriors as well. I'll get you the actual name of it in a minute.
Okay. Okay. The Redcoats were fooled into going to Mars by the crashed ice warrior. Pardon me?
Got it. Hostile Action Displacement System.
Oh, okay.
It was the second Doctor, not the third. I was wrong.
The Redcoats were fooled into going to Mars by the crashed ice warrior with tales of riches beyond their imagination. That picture of Queen Victoria looks a lot like Pauline Collins from Toothed.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they tunnel through the rock and find the Queen Empress Ice Warrior. The phrase rhino is Cockney for money. One of the troopers starts stealing the gems on the Queen's tomb and is killed. Then there ensues a little war with the Ice Warriors turning the Redcoats into rubber balls. This has been done or seen before or after. Ben talks to the Queen as she will not deal with men. Ben, must mean Bill. Bill talks to the Queen as she will not deal with men.
Yeah, well done for deciphering that one.
The Queen awakens a lot of her warriors and they tunnel out of her tomb and attack. They send a message to the Galactic Council and get a reply from none other than Alpha Centauri, played by Isane Churchman, the original voice of Alpha Centauri from the Pertwee era.
Yay.
A few quotes. Soldier: who are you and what the devil are you doing here? The Doctor: I might ask you the same question. Doctor: I have a bad feeling about this. Rexa: what does the pink thing say? Doctor: there's no setting for wood. Why is there no setting for wood? Doctor: Frozen. It's a movie. Doctor: always been my problem, thinking like a warrior.
I like that quote.
Yeah. Alpha Centauri: welcome to the universe. Nardole: before you go getting all frowny. I like that phrase too. Yeah. Next up, we have the story of the lost Ninth Legion in the Eaters of Light. Linda and Terry Miles.
Did you hear that clattering noise in the background then?
My cat's being a dick.
No,
an idiot.
Did you hear the clattering noise in the background?
Yes.
That was two of my Doctor Who figures spontaneously falling off their
Which
their
ones?
top.
Which ones?
The Capaldi Doctor and the third Doctor, as portrayed by... Hang on, no, it's not. I'm going to have to look see which one it is now. I'm going to have a look. I'm coming in. Oh, I dropped it. It's going to have to regenerate now because I just dropped him on the floor. Yes. The 11th Doctor and the 12th Doctor literally just threw themselves, and if you're watching on the live feed, I can prove it because there they are. just threw themselves off the...
Mary.
Yes.
You didn't mention that Adele Lynch, who played Iraxa, has also played another Ice Queen in Big Finish.
Oh, really?
Has
Yeah,
she?
it's
Oh, cool.
Queen Vextier in Cry of the Voltress.
Oh, I don't think I've heard that one.
It's in the main range.
Yeah, but there's a lot in the main range.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's 400 or 500 of them.
Yeah. And she's also been in a couple other ones. Since I'm not that big on Big Finish, I don't know what these are. She doesn't always play Ice Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we have Roy Spearman sent this in.
Hello, one and all. It's Roy from the Isle of Wight.
Roy.
Some feedback for you, but first, as requested.
What?
Yes, you guessed it. As requested, a flash in the pan. Pause for laughter. Now, so on to the episode itself. I enjoyed this episode. I do like a bit of Peter Capaldi being his rather mischievous Dr. Self. Particularly as this is a continuation of the long-running theme of the Brits got there first against our American cousins. We've seen it on the moon with the moon mining episode and the dragon egg thing. We've seen it on multiple occasions, but I do like the Brits getting there first. It's an enjoyable little romp of an episode, this one. Not much more you can say about the episode itself. You've got the wonderful... three-ring circus of the Doctor, Nardole, and Billy Potts, all bouncing off each other wonderfully. Very interesting the way that the TARDIS decides to autopilot back to the Doctor's rooms at the university with Nardole on board, and the only way that he can get back is with Missy. But is this just a plot tool to show that Missy can be trusted and is starting to rehabilitate? It's a bit of a long-winded way of doing it, but there you go. Not many more comments about the episode itself. I say I really did enjoy it. It was a good episode, and it didn't add to any great story arc, but then it was a good episode with quite a good, strong story to it. The only thing I do have a small issue with is the whole thing about the commanding officer's punishment for desertion. Back in 1881, desertion from the British Army was punishable by death, and that was basically what they did. It was frequently commuted, depending on circumstances, to long imprisonment terms, or hard labour as it was known then. But for officers, execution, it wasn't uncommon, let's put it that way, but the method used in this storyline was hanging. Now, in the British Army, if you were going to be executed for desertion, it was by firing squad, not by hanging. That was quite unusual. And there's no sort of explanation as to why they would have deviated from normal protocol in this storyline. But as I'm sure Kirby is now shouting at
they ran out of bullets.
Recording device, it is a fantasy TV
I was
show.
just getting ready to Google it.
Other than that, I did like the Ice Warrior's weapon of choice, this sort of compacting, inverting, boxing weapon. Rather a gruesome way to kill people off. Very reminiscent of the Master's shrink ray, where the actual method of death, of course, was that you're unable to process the oxygen molecules because they were too big for your lungs. But anyway, I digress. All in all, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Good episode. See you later.
Oh, I think you're right. I think somebody...
I just want to say, if Roy
feedback.
is listening, I'm sorry I haven't acknowledged his message, even though he sent it to me ages ago, and I will. I'm so sorry. No excuse, just...
Okay.
Technology laziness. This has been me the last few months, I'm afraid.
Okay. Right, we have this.
Hello, 20 Megawatt Podcast. This is Ian Kirk.
Hello, Ian.
Hello.
Hey,
Empress of Mars by Mark Gatiss. Redcoats on the Red Planet. An ice warrior tricks a group of British soldiers from the Zulu War into getting him back to Mars so he can reawaken his hibernating compatriots. One of many Doctor Who stories set underground, this time underground on Mars. Again, there are lights in the space helmets, so you can see the actors' faces. It is compulsory these days. This story is set in 1881, as was the first Doctor story, The Gunfighters. There is less singing in this one though. The photo of Queen Victoria is Pauline Collins from the David Tennant era.
Yes.
The TARDIS protection surge kit takes it out of play again. There's a cameo by Alpha Centauri from the classic series with John Pertwee. Missy to the rescue.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Was more Nardole to the rescue by risking taking Missy, but yes. Yes, so there we go. That, rather good. Maybe hanging on for a week generated a couple more feedback that we wouldn't have had the previous effort of Men I Couldn't Be Bothered.
Well,
to do
also
the show.
we're past the holiday season, so lots of people were just so busy during all of December and the first part of January that.
Now we've all survived January.
Even Andy. Who would have been on dry January. Is that what they call it, Debbie? I don't partake in such silly
dry January.
nonsense.
Apparently, I don't partake.
Okay, Doctor Who news. Doctor Who news. Oh dear, I've got an advert come up. I'll close that.
Who knows?
It says a Doctor Who charity auction in partnership with Prop Store has been announced by the BBC. The auction will open its digital doors to fans globally from the 11th of February to the 25th of February. Bidding for all lots will start at £100, giving fans from around the world the opportunity to own exclusive Doctor Who memorabilia. Among the 150 lots, fans will have the chance to bid on Doctors and Companions. Got a burp coming, so sorry. Costumes and many more props featured in the series between 2005 and 2022. Here are some of the examples. 10th Doctor's tuxedo costume and spares. 11th Doctor's closing time costume. 12th Doctor's Mummy on the Orient Express costume. 13th Doctor's costume. That'd be a good one to have, wouldn't it? Screen matched an adventure in time, space and time, TARDIS. Screen matched Traitor Dalek. Photo matched Gravel Cyberman head. Weeping Angel statue. That'd be good for the back garden. Ood head. Rose Tyler top. The Master John Sim jacket. Me, as in Maisie Williams, costume. C, as in Stephen Fry's costume. Clara, Jenna Coleman costume, and Donna's wedding dress. There's a load more, but it might be worth, just for the sake of it, going over to the Prop Store website and have a gander at this 150 items that none of us are going to be able to afford to buy.
Yeah, that's unfair, starting at 100.
Yeah.
It's like some of us might have gone over and gone, well, I might place a bid, but yeah, not even bothering with a bid now.
No.
I like that they're doing this for children in need, but
yes.
It's almost like they're splitting up the stuff that used to be at the exhibition.
Absolutely.
That sounds exactly what they're doing.
I've got a pretty good idea. They got plenty of stuff they could still exhibit if they wanted to do that. But the trouble is, they say the lots start at 100. They're not going to stay at 100. I think some of us could vaguely afford £100 for say, for example, the 13th Doctor's costume. But actually, if you wanted to buy a replica, it would cost more than £100. So. It's not going to end at £100, is it? Let's put it that way. But if you had, say, won the lottery, I'd buy the whole lot, and you could actually set up an exhibition, get people to pay to come in, and you get your money back eventually, wouldn't you?
You could do the Isle of Wight Doctor Who zone.
Yes,
or
exactly.
something.
And Doctor Who magazine issue 613 is that, with a certain Shooty Gatwa, a mate of mine, obviously, on the cover, and another mate of mine, and a mate of Mary's, Jo Martin, is also there, because she's featured in some Fugitive Doctor Big Finish. She didn't tell me that when I spoke to her before, but I bet she told you, didn't she, Mary?
Yes, she did.
Oh, God, she did. I thought she would have done.
Yeah, like Mary.
Yes, that's
Wow,
Doctor
some of
Who
this stuff in the
magazine.
auction is fantastic.
Ooh, I thought you might be peeping at that.
I'm just looking at it right now. But yeah, one of the first things on the page is a half of a Dalek cut vertically that was on exhibit.
Oh, cool.
Cut vertically. Okay.
Yeah, so like a slice through a centre of a Dalek.
Oh, I know what vertically is.
Ooh, right, that is it. Hang on.
Just in case you don't know.
That's like
That is it.
So the
Debbie.
main costumes from
There we go.
the main costumes from the
Cheers.
Titanic episode, Mr. Copper's costume, Heavenly Host costume.
I'm sure our listeners, if they're that interested, could actually, look at them themselves. We don't have to list every single one of them, Kirby, but.
Kirby has
No,
to.
but
Yeah.
I'm just looking at.
Well, this is the
at
stuff
Mac
you're
Hammer
going to be
for-
birding on. I'm sure Mrs. Bartlett Sloan will be absolutely thrilled. So if Roy's listening, I'm sure Roy will be tempted to bid on some of these items.
Yeah, Roy,
so, yes.
let's start the new Doctor Who zone on the island.
Yes, indeed. Writers for Series 2 have been confirmed, and none of which I've actually ever heard of, but I know Debbie knows quite a lot about TV writing. But we've got Juno Dawson, Inwa Ellams, Peter McTighe, or T, or whatever, and Sherma Angel Wolfall. All that, well, and of course some Russell T Davis as well.
I can't tell you exactly what they've written, but I recognise a couple of those credits. Definitely.
All those episodes are probably filmed and in the can now. So, but there you go. They've released the writers. That is, as far as I know, unless anybody knows anything different, Doctor Who news.
No.
FantasyCon news. FantasyCon news, as revealed in the previous episode of the 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast, we're having a year off, so as my mind can return to a degree of normality. I think some people are considering the fact that is it. We won't be back, but the place has been booked for next year, so I hope that that will be followed through. And we have an attic full of stuff that we can't really do anything else with but hold a Comic-Con and have a Dalek in the shed. What's the point of having a Dalek in your shed if you can't put it up?
I want a Dalek in my
Comic-Con?
shed.
I'd like a Dalek.
Yeah.
So at the
you want
moment,
him
and
out for a
also
bit,
Red
he
Funnel
comes
eventually
straight
came
down
through with a sort of hint that they were going to be sponsoring us this year if we'd followed it through. So we will be very keen to keep that in mind for next time. So we're going to have a year off to and recharge our batteries, and so don't think we're gone. We're just hibernating. I did get a phone call from.
I don't like the fact that people think that we're not doing it again just because we're having a year off.
I haven't heard anybody say that, but beg your pardon?
I've had to field a few people going, is it never coming back? It's like, I think we're
Well,
just taking
do they
it
want
off.
it back? If they want it back, it's very likely to come. If they don't want it back, there's no
I
chance
hope
we're doing
it comes back. It's like the highlight of my year.
it.
You know?
No, but if they don't want it back, there's no point in doing it. So I do hope that is actually the case. But I'll change the subject somewhat. I did have a phone call from a local radio legend called Alex Dyke the other day. He's setting up a event in the south of England. All I'm allowed to say is in the south of England in the summer. Don't know if I'm allowed to say the date, but I'm going to do anyway. You can always tell me off afterwards. I think he said the 21st of June, which is a bit of a problem because it's the Isle of Wight Festival weekend.
That's my
and
half
it's-
birthday.
It's a Doctor Who event, and I'm not going to say. I know who he's the guest he's invited, so I'm not going to say it yet because I don't want to. I want to sort of. I think he wants to build it up. But what he's looking for is if any Isle of Wight people or people in the south of England or people in England even that want to. What would you call it? Exhibit or sell at the event. Maybe if they can get to me and I can pass the details on to Alex. And
I'd like to go.
oh, you're selling stuff, are you, Deb? What are you selling?
No, but I'd like to go.
Well, I'm sure once all the details are released, I'd like to go too. But trouble is, it's Stereophonics Day at the Isle of Wight Festival that day. I've never seen this bit of Stereophonics because it's always clashed with something, and I thought, oh great, this year I get to see them. So I'm not sure what we're doing. If we did do it, he's quite happy for us to bring stuff along, including Deb's copious amount of cardboard cutouts, which are currently in the attic. And I said, well, if that happens, someone's going to have to pay for a van and our travel to get over there, because it's, I can't get them all over in a Polo, especially the Dalek.
Oh,
So,
can't they just walk them over with on the ferry?
Yes,
That'd be
you can,
hilarious.
Debbie.
Read
Yes, you can. So no, I said south of England, so that means it will be a journey from Southampton or Portsmouth to the next part of wherever it is. Yeah, but yeah, that's coming up in the summer. That's quite. So he's very excited about it, and I didn't even know he was interested in Doctor Who. But yes, so
I'm going down to Plymouth Con this year, which is be with my sister down there. I could take some Fantasy Con flyers or something if we get established for the
that would be a good idea. We were planning on launching FantasyCon 2026 at an event that Corkhead Comics are attempting to put together late in the year. I haven't heard anything from Rob about it yet, but once anything's confirmed, I don't know if there is the event that he's trying to put together, then we will be at that event to launch FantasyCon 5 in 2026. But at the moment, it's all restings and putting to one side. But yes, that's quite exciting. Alex Dyke and
enjoying life outside of being absolutely manic about hiring people and the stress you guys have been under every time, and it's just continuous. And yeah, break time definitely.
But Alex Dyke is a very not only a local radio and TV legend regarding
Alex Dyke, even I know that.
He is also very what would you call it, prolific arranging events of all sorts. His most famous events he's done recently is called the Jack Up events, where he gets successful sort of pop combos from the 90s and 80s to perform in a field and on a stage. Hasn't done that for a while, but that's something he's particularly well known for, other than his radio work. But yeah. Anyway, so next bit of the show is Master. Apparently,
I found 2 lots in the auction
that you've bidded on.
Will probably go for only the £100.
Yes.
What are they? 2 of the Sandman creature costumes from Sleep No More.
Okay, have you bid on them? I'll take that little chuckle as a no then.
What?
You haven't bidded on them then?
No.
Oh, well, you said that you implied that they were affordable.
I was pointing out how
oh dear! Clear that throat.
So those are going to go for £100.
Oh dear. Right then, I'm going to move on to the next section of the show. Is stuff that we can recommend that we may or may not have watched over the gap between this time and last time.
You can buy Nardol's spacesuit from this episode.
I'd rather buy his duffel coat. That'd be quite a good thing to have.
I want his dressing gown from next week's.
Oh.
And
Mondasian
Cyberman costume.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to mentioning the stuff that I've watched since the last recorded. And if I've already previously mentioned this, I do apologise. But we on the 20th of January, have we recorded since then? I don't think we have we? Went to a secret screening at Cineworld. This is I've mentioned this before, but for people who can't be bothered to listen to any other episodes of the show, this is when Cineworld put up a screening of a film and you don't know what it's going to be. It's a new film that hasn't quite been released yet, so you get like an advanced preview, but you don't know what you're going to see. So you go along hoping it's like the Bridget Jones film or maybe the new Captain America film or something like that. And you sit down and on this instance it was a film called Presence, which is basically a spooky thriller, a supernatural spooky thriller.
I thought it was about getting gifts.
Not quite what I expected it to be, but very, very good and very unique in the way. No, I'm not listening to that, Kirby, now. And a very small cast. It's one camera. It's all shot wide angle and all in the same building. It's very, very good. It reminded me a little bit that film with Brendan. What's his name? Who's when he won the Oscar? What's his name? Brendan. He played the overweight bloke in
Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. Yeah, that film with Brendan Fraser. That was shot with a very small cast in one house for the whole thing. So similar to that, but a completely different story, and all shot on wide angle. But I was quite impressed with it. It's a work of art, it really is worth seeing.
It's
only
Adam.
What?
The film was called The Whale.
Yes. This film's only 1 hour and 20 minutes, so it's certainly something that you can fit into your viewing time. I'd recommend it. And the other film we went to see was a film called A Complete Unknown. Now, Deb went along not really knowing who Bob Dylan was, so and I do love biopics if they're done well, and this one's done really well. And of course, Bob Dylan's he's had a long life, but it does stop in the 1960s. So bearing in mind he had lots of stuff going on from then on, I don't think they need to do a Complete Unknown 2, because you could always sort of look him up. But the film itself, it's very, very well done. It's a real good homage to his music as well. And I was because the first ever Isle of Wight festival featured Bob Dylan, and this is it's quite famous. It was in Wootton, and it's quite famous the fact that some of the Beatles turned up in the audience to watch him. So what a legend. So yeah, a couple of films I've watched in the cinema this week. There's been all sorts of stuff on the telly. Traitors, oh my god, that programme cannot not be good. It's just, as long as don't fiddle with the format too much, it's a brilliant programme. So you get addicted to it very quickly. It ran for 3 weeks, over 3 nights each week. It finished, and then you get these withdrawal symptoms from the programme. Unfortunately, the Traitors US is on, and then you get the Alan Cumming entertainment. You can actually, with Alan Cumming on the programme in all his various costumes or clothes, or whatever you would call them, you don't actually need the contestants. You just need Alan Cumming on there because he's so entertaining. But it's just wonderful. I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, apparently on the American version, they're all quite well-known people that have been successful in reality shows like Survivor and The Bachelor and what's the other programme? Big Brother. So all these people are sort of slightly to the Americans well-known, whereas the British one, they're all complete unknowns. Oh, the complete unknown. Come on, that deserves a... Oh,
sorry.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't know the reference.
I just mentioned the reference. We're not listening to the cinema bit about Bob Dylan. The film's called A Complete Unknown.
Oh,
and
okay.
the people on the British Traitors are complete unknowns. Anyway, so we've been watching Traitors. It's great. Love Island I've been roped into watching again. God. Never mind. What else has been on? Come Back to Me. Because I'm not going to sit here doing pregnant pauses. I'm going to listen to what... Oh, I've been reading a book. I've gone back to reading stroke the book by Dan Starkey or David Starkey, whatever his name is, about the kings and queens of England, because it's such a long book and it's so fascinating. So I've been listening to that as well. Right, Debbie, what have you been indulging in?
Oh, well, Great British Menu came back on last week. I was utterly thrilled. That's 3 nights a week for an hour on BBC One, where I get to watch people cook and fight with each other. Brilliant. Also, I have recently been watching, going to my continue watching. Thanks, Isla. The new Uncanny came out on Friday, so I'm absolutely hooked on that. And then there was also, what else did I watch recently? Not too much. Oh, Digging for Britain's back on. So
I forgot about that. Yeah, I've been watching that.
Absolutely love that. Digging for Britain back on. I love this time of year when we're sat in front of the fire and we're watching, cozying up to watch what they did all over the summer, all over the UK, archaeologically. Yep. And absolutely love that programme.
Me too.
Even Isla gets drawn into that, unless there's obviously a gas mask in it, and then she runs for the hills. That's for life, that is, I'm afraid. I thought she'd have outgrown it by now, but no. Are you my mummy? Not even allowed to say that.
You just did.
I did.
What happens if she sees someone at a Doctor Who convention or a comic convention?
Fortunately, that hasn't actually happened yet. So I'm waiting, but it's not actually. We've crossed that bridge when we come to it, definitely. But I've been reading a lot as well. I've just read I can't remember the name of the title. Gentleman in Moscow. Just that Paramount just released that as a TV show about a guy who's put under house arrest in a hotel in 1920s Moscow, and I've started reading that, and that's proving to be a very good read. And I was away this week on the mainland, and so I took a couple of books with me, and one of them was The Story of Volcanoes by can't remember his first name, but he's an Oppenheimer. So yeah, it's been a bit of an eclectic read this week, definitely.
Wasn't Cillian
I was
Murphy, was it?
head back to books this time of year. But yeah, not too much on telly. My dad, though, when I was with him, he couldn't decide what he thought I might like to watch, because we have very opposing tastes outside of Doctor Who and sci-fi. And we both actually settled on Brian Cox. We rewatched Planets, and in particularly Jupiter. So we got to rewatch when about 12, 13, maybe 14 years ago, when the comet got broken up and swallowed by Jupiter, and we got to watch that live on telly. I remember that. So
I remember that.
Was a good blast from the past.
Was it
Do you
real?
remember that at all?
No, was that real footage or something?
Yes, it was real footage. Yeah,
I
they
remember
had
it.
a camera
No.
up there, and this comet, which was headed to Earth but got pulled into Jupiter's gravitational pull, as a lot of things do, heading our way. And we all got to watch it. It was on BBC at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
And it broke up into 3 pieces, and you watched it in real time going to Jupiter with a very, fuzzy picture.
Is that on the Brian Cox thing then?
But, yeah.
You can actually see it.
I didn't see it real time, but I remember seeing it.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at all. I'd like to see that.
We stayed up to watch it because they said it's going to happen about this time, and we were like, "Yep." And we just had the telly on the whole time, and they went live to it on the BBC, and it was I remember that.
I want to see it.
You can see it on YouTube. It's all over the spot.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah. Jupiter Eats Comet might be the way to go.
Right, I'm definitely going to have to look that one up. Thank you, Debbie.
That's me done. Yep.
Well, back to me, I'm afraid. Sorry. League of Their Own has been on. The Apprentice has started. Oh my God, so good always. Dragon's Den, Death in Paradise. Haven't started watching that yet, but I've seen the Christmas special. What else do we have here? We've got lots of football. There's the Lucy Worsley series.
Oh yes, the
fantastic.
Lucy Worsley series. Yeah. And the rugby started this week, so that's our
I caught the France Wales game on that one.
Yeah, did you see how they got trounced? Absolutely trounced. France are fielding one of the best teams they've had for a long time.
Oh, they got lucky.
Lucky.
What else we got? Oh yeah, and the landscape artist of the year, episode 1 and 2 has been consumed.
Where's that?
What do you mean? It's on Sky Arts. It's always on Sky Arts.
Sky Arts. Okay, that's why I haven't.
Series. I can't remember what series it is now. Series 10, maybe more than that. Just Stephen Mangan on his own now, doing the presenting, like he did on the Portrait Artists of the Year. So that's some of the stuff. I watched a few bits and bobs on YouTube as well, selective historical thingies. Kirby, what have you been consuming?
Not a whole lot, although last Saturday, my wife and I and our doctor, our general practitioner, who we go to a lot of stuff with for some reason, we all went to see the Metropolitan Opera in theaters, live production of Aida, which has been broadcast into theaters all over the country. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful, to see an opera in a high definition on a giant screen. So that was the main thing.
Well, Cineworld are offering some stuff coming up in regards to live theatre. Now you mentioned that, it just reminded me.
Looking forward to the theatrical release of the David Tennant. What is it? The Shakespeare Macbeth.
Yes, that's one of the ones they're showing.
Yeah. And speaking, that was really the only thing I saw. But you were talking about Alan Cumming a few minutes ago. Mm-hmm. In just 11 podcasts from now, we'll see Alan Cumming on Doctor Who.
Indeed. What a legend.
And the Witchfinders.
I can't see. They are doing some more, unless I've missed them. They were doing Shooting Upwards in Importance of Being Earnest. I think that was going to be shown live at Cineworld. But,
I'll have my HD, my Super HD, whatever it's called, copy of Wicked next week.
Okay.
It'll as soon as the disc is produced, it'll be here in my grubby little hands.
Oh, splendid. There's a few films I want to watch coming up. Obviously, the new Bridget Jones film. There's Deb wants to see Baby Girl, but it's a bit rude apparently. It's not my cup of tea. And Captain America: Brave New World. There was another one I can't remember the title of that we wanted to see as well. What am I? Mary, over to you.
Well, I've actually kind of made a resolution to read more and listen to more Big Finish. So I don't have a lot of TV to recommend. However, there is a new series that's showing on Max and HBO. It's called The Pit, and it's about a hospital in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that's considered to be like one of the top trauma hospitals. In fact, there's like a whole rash of medical dramas that have shown up all of a sudden, and I always enjoyed those. And The Pit is really good, really good. Every episode is the next hour of a day, so it's a full 8-hour day. Actually, I think it's like a 12-hour day, and it's 12 episodes. And it stars Noah Wyle, who was originally the lead character in a real early medical drama. I don't know if you guys ever saw ER.
I knew of it, but never watched it.
That made its way to the British Isles there. What's her name? Why can't I think of
Alex
her name?
Kingston.
No, played the daughter of Amy Pond.
Caitlin
Alex
Blackwood.
Kingston.
Alex Kingston, yeah.
I said Alex
she was
Kingston.
On ER. She was on several seasons of ER. She was really, that's when I first got to
know. I loved ER, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's this one called The Pit, and it features the same doctor who was like a newbie doctor in the ER series. Then there's another series called Critical, which is strictly about an absolute, like it's 1 hour long, and that's how long it takes for a top level trauma group to either save somebody who's massively, in trouble, or they die. And, so each episode is that 1 hour of time while they're trying to keep somebody alive. I don't know why, but I'm into watching that.
I like that.
It's like, whoa, from the time the guy, or woman hits the door, and everything that they're doing, it's really interesting. And I'm trying to remember what the third one is that has also come out that is, I don't know why suddenly medical dramas are the big deal. But anyway, books I'm reading, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which is a huge book, very dense.
Yeah, Tom's read that. It's huge, isn't it? You could definitely hit someone over the head with one.
It's kind of fun. I don't know if you guys have ever watched the series called Bridgerton. But it's kind of like that in terms of it's a seriously told story, but it's told kind of tongue in cheek. You kind of know that the characters in it are just a little bit ridiculous. And it's about English magic. These are Englishmen who are involved in magic during not Victorian, but what is the period that follows the Victorian times?
Edwardian?
Is it Empire?
Edwardian.
I'm sorry, what?
After the Victorian Edwardian times.
Yeah. So it takes place in that period of time. And it's very, like I said, it's very dense. It's taking me a long time to get through it. But I've also started another book called The Wayward that I read a really good review about. And it's supposed to be a woman's descent into madness. And I find that interesting. How is it that someone, what are those steps that lead one into that world where nothing makes sense and so on. So I've pretty much just started that. So
madness could always loan you a fez.
Very good. Very good.
In Big Finish, I listened to a couple of what they call short trips. These are stories that take like just a half an hour. And one I really enjoyed is called The Ingenious Gentleman Adric of Algeciras, or what is Algeciras? Algerius. And it's about Adric, And while he's in the midst of being with the crew of the Fifth Doctor and how they all, pick on him and, treat him so badly, he's missing his days with the Fourth Doctor, because the Fourth Doctor did treat him a lot better than he ever got treated by the Fifth crew. So he goes into kind of a dream thing where he saves a whole planet, but it turns out that it's just a good idea that he had that the Fourth Doctor took and ran with, and it did actually, save a whole planet. But that was his kind of mental escape from what he's dealing with Nyssa and Tegan and all that. Another short trip is called Forever Fallen, and quite honestly, I don't remember much about it. It wasn't very good. And I listened to a companion chronicle with Nyssa called The Darkening Eye, the Fifth Doctor and Nyssa, and they go to rescue some people and find out that there's this whole planet that's been taken over by a group called the Dar Traders, who glory in the death of people. They capture and put people to death slowly so that they can enjoy that. And so Nyssa and the Doctor, have to work their way through that and out of that. So, and that one is, that's very good. And one that I'm in the middle of now is called The Mutant Phase. And it too is Fifth Doctor and Nyssa. And it's Daleks. This is a Dalek story where the Daleks get this infectious disease, making some of the Daleks into mutants. And as soon as one gets sick, the Daleks immediately want to kill them off, because, they eradicate anything that isn't a pure Dalek. So then they're trying to stop the Daleks from killing all the mutant ones so that they can see what's going wrong. And I don't know where this is going, because I'm kind of in the middle of it right now. So that's what I've been listening to and reading.
Yes, I forgot to mention earlier on that Terry Marr said, "Well done, Mary," probably in regards to reading his feedback, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
I think we just say well done, Mary. There you go.
Yes.
Terry.
Well done, Mary, for being Mary.
Master. I just ran across a bit of interesting Doctor Who trivia.
Ooh.
I realized that you're not going to publish this podcast today, but excuse me.
Dear me.
Oh, God.
51
You woke my
years
cat
ago,
up.
Sorry, Kirby.
51 years ago today, 2nd February 1974, the Who-mobile made its debut in the 4th episode of Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
Oh.
Hooray!
Thank you, Kirby.
I just thought that was cool because I like the
that.
Who-mobile.
Yeah, that's good trivia. I like that.
I like the Who-mobile.
Okay, right then. So, next time, I'm going to check my calendar.
Next time you're going to check your calendar. Excellent.
Yeah,
I've done a Kirby. I should have had the calendar up and running, but never mind. At the moment, the 9th is not got anything on it, so we're okay. If things, if I could not be completely knackered from work like I was last week.
Okay, so that would be for
grandpa again.
That'll be for the Eaters of Light. So yes, we'll aim for that and hope for the best. And
Eaters of Light.
Eaters of Light.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Splendid.
Okay.
Well,
The next week then.
Pardon?
The next week then.
Hopefully. Potentially, shall we say?
Same time, same channel.
Indeed. So until then, thank you for listening, watching, taking part in the show as per usual, and please continue to do so like Roy does. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Fancy Pants.
Bye.
Yeah, right.
The 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast is an APV Services production, sponsored by whowon.co.uk and lavazi.co.uk. We are proud members of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance. Doctor Who is a trademark of the BBC. No copyright infringement intended. The music on this podcast is covered by limited online music license from PRS for Music.